Home of Indiana University, rock quarries, cornfields, enchanted woods, and injury lawyer Kenn Nunn, Bloomington is a town that has a term for its ability to lure one-time residents back, the bloomerang. There's something weirdly magical going on here, and college town nobodies Josh Bennett and Chris Coopersmith are going to get to the bottom of this place by listening to stories and riding every possible tangent along the way.
Hey, I'm Josh Bennett.
And I'm Chris Coopersmith. You'll probably be able to tell who's who because Josh actually invested in a podcasting mic and I just stuck with a 10-year-old USB mic. It sounds like a tin can telephone.
Like Rusty told you in the intro, Bloomington has a lot going on, and we thought it would be a fun journey to collect some of the stories that tell you something about this place. If you're listening, you probably have some connection to Bloomington yourself, so we won't spend too much time telling you what you already know.
But one thing you probably already know is that Bloomington's a lot more than IU. It's like most smaller college towns because you've got your town and your gown. And actually, I've heard this story a million times. I don't even know if it's true, but people say that the bar that runs right down the middle of the Crazy Horse used to separate the townies from the west side and the IU folks from the east side. So our plan is to try to dig into both sides of that bar. And we're also dedicated to tracking down all the voices that haven't been heard before.
But for our first episode, we decided to interview each other about our origin stories so you can get to know us and decide if you want to keep hanging out with us or ghost us like everybody else does. So, let's get the show on the road.
When you think about Bloomington, what do you think about?
Kind of like, I don't know, I've been here for so long and so many different phases of myself, you know.
Yeah.
Like my metal years were here.
They were.
My grunge years were here.
Mm-hmm.
My drunk years were here.
Yeah.
My soberish years are apparently here.
True. That's like at least four phases.
There's a decent chance that my Alzheimer's years will be here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then you'll probably have some natural burial.
I don't have a will at all.
Yeah.
But I have no preference on what happens to me.
You don't?
After that. Like I guess a slight preference would be to be like not be buried, just to be like, what's it called?
Cremated.
Yeah, that probably would be my choice. But honestly, I don't care if they like just sit me in the backyard and let me rot and smell up the area for a while. I don't care if they do that with me.
Then other people would have a good Bloomington story.
They'd have a Bloomington story. I don't care if they could stuff me if they wanted.
Yeah.
I could do a series of Well, I've talked about this before. I think Kenny and I used to talk about this. It'd be like have a series, like start recording things now.
Yeah.
To like for people who come to the funeral.
Oh God. Like to those people, or
like instead of like laying in the casket with your eyes closed that makes you look like asleep, have yourself sitting like with your head on your elbow, and then like recordings of like, come on in and have a seat. Glad you can make it.
You and I come into Bloomington from different places. Or from we come in from distinctly different angles. Like you being born in where were you born? In Bedford?
I was born in Bedford.
Right. So you being born in Bedford, which is, what is it, about 30 minutes of town, 30 minutes south of here.
Yeah. Bedford really is almost every other town in Indiana.
Okay, right. That's true.
Exception of Bloomington.
Yeah.
Even Indianapolis kind of almost seems like just a big, in some spots, just a big Bedford.
Totally.
When I was little, we'd go on vacations. We'd take multi-day road trips, and we would go to like Arizona, and we'd drive all the way there with my grandparents, only to go and stay in a hotel and do nothing but go into the hotel pool all day long.
Right.
That's what we did for most of the trip.
Seriously?
Most of the
So
trip.
you might be 1,000 miles away, but that's what you do.
Yeah. Would drive to like Tucson, Arizona, more than once. And then like, yeah, we would go and then we'd hang out at the pool all day. And the day one, my parents wouldn't, make me put on sunblock. So I'd get a blistering sunburn the very first day, be miserable for the rest of the trip.
Oh my God.
But anyway, on the way there, like there was always the question my grandma would always say, like, well, where do y'all want to go for lunch? And then it would be like 10 seconds later, she'd be like, there's a Cracker Barrel up here.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So she didn't really care where we wanted to go for lunch because we were going to go to Cracker Barrel sometimes twice a day.
Did she ride with you on these trips?
Yeah. And she was also the boss of everyone. She was like the godfather.
Yeah. So that was Bedford.
Yeah.
People. So you were in Bedford, and so that's where you grew up, and then you moved to Bloomington. Oh, you came to Bloomington before college.
Yeah, I moved here when I was 14. And before I moved here, Bloomington to me seemed like a huge, like
that's what I was going to ask.
Big city. Like I thought, like going to Bloomington when I lived in Bedford was like, man, that's a huge city.
You guys would come on the weekend. Was it at that time when you're growing up? Was it common for people to drive up to Bloomington on the weekends to go to restaurants and shopping and all that?
Yeah, the College Mall. That's where we would go. Yeah, and then when I got a little older, we'd go downtown. Spaceport and places like that.
The arcade. Do you think that you and your friends thought the kids in Bloomington looked different or acted differently than Bedford kids?
Yes, they looked different. They sounded different. I mean, even when I listened to my voice on these podcasts, just going through it, I'm like, that guy. Speaking of myself, like, that guy's from Bedford,
right? There's a little bit.
Yeah, I've got that twang.
Is it a twang?
Just like I guess it's like a Bedford. Like I don't know. I think it sounds like a twang. Like but I remember being like, when I first moved here, I tried really hard to make myself sound like I wasn't from Bedford. I was almost, I think I was ashamed of it, or I just didn't want to be like made fun of because I sounded a lot different.
Yeah.
Because most people, not a lot of people move to Bedford, and a lot of people move to Bloomington from everywhere because of IU. So people tend to sound pretty similar being from Bedford. And even though I have been here for, 30 some years, I still, I don't hear it when I'm speaking, but when I'm listening to it later, I hear it.
So I came from Wichita, Kansas. I probably told you this story, but I was 16 or 17, and my dad and I drove. My dad was a headmaster of the school that I went to, and he was also the college counselor, and he and I took a trip to, I've told you this, right? I'm sure I have, but
you took a trip here.
We took a trip, but we went and saw we went and visited probably 7 different colleges. I think it was my junior year, but it could have been my senior year. And we went to Purdue, and the way I remember it is they didn't have a Jewish studies program. And my dad was like, no, you're not going here, just because on the basis of what that communicated to him. So we went to the University of Iowa, where my wife went later, but it was actually really snowy and crappy that day. It was in March. And on that single basis, it was like, okay, I'm not going there, just totally random. And then
the first impression was ruined it for you. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just, I remember I got my hair cut there, but it was snowing and it was bitter. It was bitterly cold. And I was just kind of like, I don't like it here. Yeah. And then we go to Bloomington, and it happened to be same trip, same week. And it happened to be kind of one of those early spring days in Bloomington where things were kind of popping, the sun's out. And we took a tour of the campus and kind of vaguely knew that they had a good music school, even though I'm not a trained musician and wasn't planning to be one, but I wanted to play music. And it was like, okay, I'm coming here. And so
it was like the right place at the right time, kind of
right place at the right time. Yeah. And so that I don't remember if that's my junior or senior year. I kind of think it was my senior year of high school. And then, I turned 18 in July after I graduated high school, and then in August, my family drove me to Bloomington. We stayed in the Indiana Memorial Union overnight, and then they pulled up to Collins Living and Learning Center and dropped some stuff off, and then they were just like, "See you later," like it was like that fast. And then I was alone in Bloomington.
You've basically spent your entire adult life here, right?
Totally, yeah. I mean, pretty much from when I turned 18 until now.
When did Bloomington to you become like not a temporary place that I'm going to college to a permanent place where I want to buy a house?
Well, it's weird because it's because I kind of became a townie pretty fast in the sense that I quit school after my freshman year, which I didn't even want to go to college, but my parents. It's always, I mean, I was going to go eventually, probably, but I just was so tired of school.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and my parents insisted that I go. And then I came to, this is my total, how people have their, like, everybody has their story that they've finally crafted about their past, that it's who knows. But basically what happened was I didn't want to go, I came, was kind of at sea in Bloomington. I was living in this the kind of the alternative dorm, Collins Living and Learning Center.
Yeah.
And my roommate was this guy named Noah, who was this I mean, seriously, he was like, I'm short and he was way shorter than me, and he had a great big red afro. He's this Jewish kid from Berkeley, California, and he was super pissed about being in Bloomington because he wanted to live in California, but his dad, who was a music professor, got a job at IU right before he graduated. So now he's going to IU, and he's a heavy metal drummer. And then I'm there, and I didn't really want to be there, and I'm kind of homesick. And the first day we met each other, we kind of sized each other up, and I somehow or another, the afternoon that we met each other, we were at his parents' house in Bloomington. We wrote a song called "Are You Gandhi's Father" together. That's just this bizarre, nonsensical song, and we recorded it, and I still remember how it goes on the very first day that I met my roommate.
Do you still have a copy of it?
I don't. I will have to. I think I can ask him because I would love to hear this ridiculous. It kind of sounds like an REM song. Like it kind of sounds like we were trying to sound like REM.
Yeah.
But we were singing like completely nonsensical lyrics.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
Well, I have one question first that needs to be answered now. You still do you know where he is now? Do you contact?
I think he's in California, and he's in the music business. I think he's stayed with it. I think he's a producer or an engineer out there. Maybe he still plays drums. I think he's had some success with more in the production end.
Yeah. And did he last at IU, or did he say?
No, I think he did. I think he did. Yeah. We kind of lost track because so what happened was during my first semester in Bloomington, he found out he had diabetes. And so not only was he in this town he didn't want to live in, missing all his friends, then he's got diabetes and he's trying to learn how to like manage the diabetes and do the needle and all the things. I think they've had a lot of advances since then, but at the time he was literally having to like inject himself every day with insulin, and he was just like bummed out. There's like insulin needles in our room, no air conditioning. And then I found out my parents were getting divorced, and I got completely blindsided by it. Like it was not what I expected. So I
didn't realize that happened when you were 18. I thought it happened when you were in high school.
Yeah. And I was like, my parents get divorced. And he's like, I have diabetes. And we were just this sad pair. But at some point that's when I saw a flyer looking for a singer, and I tore off the phone number and I called them, and they were this art rock band called Mani, Mani. We're playing it was kind of like Rush meets REM. They're trying to sound a little more accessible, and
you brought in the REM, I am assuming.
Yeah. Well, they already were a little bit influenced by them, by them, but by when I went and tried out for them, they had me try out with this song called Miss Gradenko by the Police from like Synchronicity or one of those, and then REM, We Walk, and then one of their songs, just weird collection of songs. And I came and tried out, and they really liked me, but I just didn't like their music. I didn't really like their music, and they're like, "Well, why don't you stay on
just we'll play cover songs and go and try to make some money to support our art, whatever. And then that's when we accidentally became this popular cover band in Bloomington. So the point is that at the end of my freshman year, I just dropped out because I didn't want to go to school, and my parents actually had run out. They had gotten themselves all messed up financially because of the divorce proceedings, and I was like, "Oh, well, guess you can't pay for college anymore," and I just dropped out, which is what I wanted to do, and ended up just becoming a Bloomington person. I worked in McCree's Deli, and I played in a cover band.
So Monty is the birth of Situation Grey. Same members?
Yeah.
Wow.
Totally. Yep.
Hey, goddammit. I'm attorney Kenn Nunn. Have you been injured in an auto accident? Has your grandpa thrown you down the stairs? Did your mom throw you out of a moving vehicle because she hates your guts? Did your best friend chainsaw your ball sack in front of your girlfriend? Call me right now and I'll send them a letter telling them that you mean fucking business. Have you seen my Rolls Royce? Have you seen my Mercedes Benz? Have you seen my Bloomington Transits? I'm really not fucking around here, guys. One thing I know for certain is you're not gonna get paid until Ken gets paid. Did your dad punch you in the mouth? Did your cousin try to burn you alive? Call me right fucking now. And I mean call me right fucking now. Right fucking now!
I am assuming that your parents were probably too wrapped up in their divorce to give you too much of a hard time for dropping out of school. They were
checked out.
Right.
Yep.
And was it super ugly? Were they just like pitting you against them?
No, luckily it wasn't any of that pitting stuff. It was just more my dad, he left my mom and for somebody else, and she was really upset, and it was just so they were both he was having his experience of kind of being in love with somebody else, and she was having the experience of being totally blindsided and not knowing what the hell to do, and still having my brother in the house. And so they were just both totally in their own worlds. I mean, she was there for me, but they were just very wrapped up in dealing with their lives. So that's all a long way of saying that. That's why I kind of feel like I felt like a townie. I felt like a townie for a long time because I just lived in Bloomington and I worked in Bloomington, and that's what I was doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like you just basically, with the exception of your freshman year or whatever, you just moved to Bloomington. And
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I ended up going back to school part-time for many, many years. But, I feel more like I was a person who was living and working in Bloomington.
I think everybody does this when they're about that age, is want to get out of the place that they I don't know, went to high school or grew up. And I moved to Colorado when I was I went 1 year to Indiana State and then dropped out of college and moved to Colorado and lived there for a few months with Jim Granado. And my dad, I remember my dad calling me one day and was like, "What are you doing? Your brother is going to be in college here in a few years, so I can't. I'm not really planning on paying for both of you to go to college at the same time. So not to put too much pressure on you, but it's if you need help, then now's the time."
Is that right?
Yeah. So I moved back and still didn't want to go to college, and went anyway. And it took me I don't know. I think it took me 7 years to get my undergraduate degree.
Yeah. 8 for me.
Really?
Yeah. The only reason I finished my undergraduate degree is that I found out that after 8 years, you start losing courses on the front end of your thing. And I was like,
I got to wrap this up.
Yeah. So in summer of 1997, I took 2 courses because by August they were going to start, taking credits away from me. I took finite mathematics, which was the first math class I had taken since high school, and because I just avoided it. And
Oh
then I
yeah.
took.
I thought that was going to keep me from graduating.
Did you have the same?
Yeah. Oh man, I have math anxiety.
Right? And Indiana folklore, which ended up being fun because at this point, I lived in Bloomington for quite a while. I mean, not quite a while, but 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And I appreciated the quarries, for example. Like I
Yeah.
loved going swimming with my friends at the quarries. And I have just some of my most free memories, where I just felt so free was when I'm out there. And I'm not proud of this, but it would be it was like all you needed was a pack of cigarettes, a pair of jean shorts, some tennis shoes, and maybe your keys, and you didn't need anything else. And you just find a trail out to the quarries, which was trespassing, of course. And then you're just out there, right? I mean, did you do that stuff?
Oh yeah. So you just described is what people in Bedford do. I remember growing up in Bedford, like that was just what we did.
Is it
every summer because there were, fewer opportunities to do other things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, summertimes is just going, just like what you described, jeans, cut off shorts and cigarettes. The slight only difference was when I did that in Bedford, I was in like 7th grade, sixth and had almost no problems
right?
going into Hook's drugstore and
Mm-hmm.
being that age and looking at the cashier and saying, "I need some Marlboro Reds," and they're like, "Well, certainly."
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There was also a laundromat too, though, that we'd always just go and like there was a lot with a cigarette machine there, so if you had like $1.25 or something,
Right.
That's how much they cost in those days. Do you feel like you talk differently from you do?
Talk differently from what?
From like being like being somebody from Bloomington, because I can't tell a difference like from your voice compared to somebody else in Bloomington. You just sound like another dude from Bloomington.
Oh, really?
You don't have a Bedford twang as much as I feel like I do.
Yeah. Well, Jane makes fun of me because my wife Jane, because we're both from the Midwest.
Uh-huh.
I'm from the plains. I'm from Kansas and she's from Iowa and Nebraska, and she'll call me out. I mean, I'm not doing it on purpose, but she'll make fun of me, be like, "Oh, did you really?" or whatever. When she thinks I've just really picked up a Hoosier accent, and I hear it, and I think part of it is just that I like being a Hoosier. I like being from here, so if I hear it in my voice, I'm like, "Yeah, it's all right." But Jane makes fun of me about it.
Yeah, that's true in my case too. Like I tried to hide it in high school, that teenage pressure, but now I'm like, that's who I am.
That's who I am. Well, the thing is, I really love the redneck intellectual. Like this to me is one of my favorite kind of Southern Indiana archetypes. Is it'll be a kid who's just like they're making bullets in their garage, like on the weekends, and like killing deer and making deer jerky and putting giant Trump flags or whatever it is,
Right.
But then we'll be talking about some story in class, and the kid will be like, "Well, I really think that just represents, the chaos that happens in the internal workings of the mind," and they'll just say it's an awesome thing, because it's not like because you're rural, you're dumb,
Right.
It's like it's a stereotype. So I just love these guys. I love these people who they break the stereotype so hard, but they still have the accent and everything else,
Right.
I love that. And so, but you're not a redneck, or you don't come off as a country boy, but the fact that you're this smart guy and that you also have that little Bedford thing, that twang, I like that combination a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once I got deeper into Bloomington culture or towny culture, I was like, I got to pick up more of an affect so that all the cool Bedford transplants don't catch them from a private school in Kansas.
So when did your mom move here?
That would be 2000.
That's right. And you moved, and it was 80. What year was it?
89.
89. Okay.
Yeah. When did you move here? Oh, wait, you came here in high school.
No, yeah, but I did, but it was around 1989.
No shit.
The year, yeah. I graduated in 92.
Uh-huh.
It was like 88 or 89. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool that we both actually moved here right around the same time.
Yeah. And it's also cool that that we both dropped out of college and it took us about 8 years to graduate.
Yeah.
And that
that's the word.
And that we had the math anxiety.
Yeah. Also, that's the word I was going to describe about taking 7 or 8 years. It's also cool. When you moved to Bloomington, and at some point you lived in a house right next to the high school, one of the high schools, right next to Bloomington North, and you lived across from the golf course. And I thought maybe you would like to share your relationship with that golf course.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I lived in 2 houses on that street, so I got I got to experience it from 2 different
Kinser Pike.
Yeah, Kinser Pike, but the one house we had, it was almost like it was the perfect house to be like. You are like right at the tee off at or not. I can't. I think it was at the putt. I don't know.
Maybe
I don't
maybe
know
it was
my
par.
golf.
Maybe you're right at par.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you're in the.
I don't know my golf terms, but
could be the mud thicket.
It was the spot where they really need to concentrate to hit the golf ball. But my brother and I would just grab lawn chairs and put it at the edge of our yard. So what is separating us is just a street.
Yeah.
Street, and the golfers are across the street, and we would time it perfectly for the golfers to make their swing, and then we'd yell, and we got them so pissed off at us that they would climb over the fence and want to beat our ass. But we had more than enough time we had it timed perfectly to where like we could eat. Not only did we have enough time to get inside and lock the door, but we had enough time to like gently unfold our lawn chairs and take those with us and then wait by the window as the golfers are like fucking assholes or whatever and give up on trying to beat us up,
right,
and then climb back over the fence, and we edged right. We were just walking the same pace right to and placed our chairs right there. Like these days I would imagine like,
oh god,
that's how people get shot.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that now to golfers because I'm assuming there's more of them now that carry sidearms. Yeah.
Oh man, I know that would people who heard. Have you ever told golfers that story?
No. For one reason, I'm afraid it could be like, I know who you are. That was my dad.
He had a heart attack.
He came home and beat up the family. And then went to the garage, shot himself.
God.
So fuck you.
It never stops being funny to me.
Yeah, it's a good story. And I of course told you what my brother did.
What?
It's kind of some next level shit. Everybody at North, like all the teachers, everybody knew where he lived.
Yeah.
And
oh god,
during like games, like people would put signs up all down Kinser Pike, like "Go North, beat whatever, beat the South Panthers," or just really getting the energy, because that was the main road that all the high school students went down to go to school. And they would put it and he would put a sign in his own yard During these game nights, it would be like you'd be driving and you'd see like, go north, beat the Panthers, and then as they drive by our house, it would be like, buy pot at North. Get your marijuana north tonight.
Oh man. My mom just relentlessly tells this. I don't know this. She when she talks about when I moved to Bloomington, she relentlessly tells this joke about me that when we were in the car to Bloomington, I said, okay, what's the name of that coach who's supposed to, that big famous basketball coach again or whatever? And she thinks it's so funny that I was so checked out of sports that I didn't even know who Bobby Knight was.
Right.
And she always laughs about that. And this one time my mom said, she'd been drinking and she was telling that story to my family, my brother and his wife and my wife and everybody for the millionth time, except for she said, what's the name of that coach again? And Christopher said, and I said, and my mom will be like, and I said, it's Bobby McKnight, and you have to know his name. And she called him Bobby McKnight. And so then like this, how it's just, sons are such jerks to their moms, the whole joke is just to fuck with your mom, like why? But we love it. And so for just years after that, still the joke will be at the dinner table. We'll just, whenever something comes up, like Bob Knight, one of us will be like, oh, that's Bobby McKnight who threw that chair, and everybody at the table knows the joke, and thinks so funny. And my mom doesn't know that we're. That's
what I was going to wonder.
Yeah, that we're joking about her saying Bobby McKnight, and then somebody else will be like, "Oh my God, you see Tiger McWoods at the golf tournament?" It just goes on and on.
Right. So you guys have to keep like upping each other in that.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And it's all the expense of my poor mom who just said Bobby McKnight once,
You should try to reverse it a little bit and say something like, hey, Mom, you want to go to Donald's for some coffee?
Yeah. Yeah. That's terrible. Oh, man. What about what your brother did to your dad with the picture of the drummer?
Oh, yeah. Ricky Martin.
Okay.
Yeah. Gave my dad a picture of Ricky Martin.
Wait. So he just brought your dad a picture of
a framed picture of Ricky Martin, and gave my dad this story of like, Dad.
Oh, no, wait. So, okay, Ricky Martin, the pop singer.
Yeah, the one he had that one. Living
La Vida Loca, or
La Vida Loca. Yeah.
La
Vida Loca. But gave him a picture of him and was like, Dad, this guy is the reason that I play drums, and it would mean the world to me if you would display his picture at your house. Like a story that I wouldn't buy off of anybody, but for some reason my dad bought it, and my dad doesn't want to say no, but he doesn't like that shit. My dad does not have a sense of humor for that kind of shit,
right?
At all,
right?
And he put it up on his mantle,
not knowing that this was a joke.
And then he had a friend come over, and his friend was like, why do you have a framed picture of Ricky Martin on your mantle? And then that's when my dad tried to explain it, and then realized that Michael fucked him over.
Your brother, he just.
And the pictures that we gave him for Christmas one time was, he's I think the thing that offends my dad the most on stuff like this is that the waste of money and time that we put into this,
right.
When we got our pictures taken with Stephanie, when we had on turtlenecks and like all these different Christmas poses, and and bought this picture frame, those picture frames that have little picture frames within it, and filled it up with those pictures and a CD that we made of all the music of the Hung Stocking.
Hung Stocking. This went with that.
Yeah, and it was like, this is what we have to show you, that what we've spent all year working on. Yeah.
Man.
He doesn't know how to handle that shit.
Is that why you do it? Because you know that it's so much work put into that.
Yeah, I think that's a big reason. There's something so funny about my dad in particular being just like let down or embarrassed.
Thanks for listening to Bloomington Stories. If you've got any hot leads for guests or topics, please send them our way at bloomingtonstoriespod@gmail.com. And come back and check out our first guest on the next episode of